Hi guys, so today's video is going to be the finally fall book tag. And the irony in this is that I'm planning on this going up technically the day before fall officially starts, so it doesn't even actually work, but that's okay because it's basically fall now and I'm so ready. I have been wearing sweaters for way too long. It's so hot where I live, but I just wear shorts and then I justify it that way. Before we jump into it though, I am curious to see how many of you actually don't live somewhere that is transitioning into fall. I want to know how many of you are into spring. So if you are one of my Southern Hemisphere friends, let me know, put a little flower in your comment. And then if you are also in the Northern Hemisphere, put some fall leaves so I can see where all of you are from. Jumping into the questions though, the first one says, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I haven't looked at these. I do this tag pretty often, well, each year when fall comes around, but I haven't done it since last year, so I don't remember the questions. But immediately, as soon as I read this, I thought of The Queen of Blood. This is the first book in the Queens of Renthia series, and every time I talk about it, I read this first one recently, and every time I talk about it, I talk about how the setting is so vivid. I think the title of my review, I think I even said like best fantasy setting or something like that, because it's a forest setting, and there are these spirits in the forest, and they prey on people. There's a queen among the humans that keeps the spirits in check so that people can live relatively safely. It's really interesting, and they live in the treetops, and they kind of have the zipline transportation system. So if you like forest settings, vivid settings, this book definitely fits this question. I have a feeling reading the next question that I'm going to be mentioning a lot of the books that I have just been loving this year. So the next question says, nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with heavy topics like loss or grief. Okay, first off, Queens of Innis Lear, which is a King Lear retelling. And that one, man, it's very atmospheric. It's very moody, a lot of family drama. But the father, the King Lear element of the story, because it is a retelling, is kind of aging and he's sort of not altogether there. And that is just so tragic. And you're dealing with the fact that some of the people think that he killed his wife, the queen, and one daughter does not believe he did it, and then the other two do. So there's a lot of family drama involving that. But Kingdom of Back, I read earlier in the year, loved it. Has to do with the fact that women have not had the same opportunities as men throughout history, because you follow Nannerl Mozart, who is the sister to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It is magical realism-esque, kind of it's almost a portal fantasy in a sense, but the magical realism part of it is that it's not really real. So it's more of this child's imagination that they're exploring, and it parallels things in their own world. And this world that starts off so wondrous and with so many possibilities, as the character ages, it becomes so much darker and crueler, which is this like really tragic parallel to her life as she gets older. Her opportunities are limited. So I thought that was really good, but also, did you guys know I liked that book Fireborn? Did you know? I only post about it basically every Friday. So Fireborn follows, it's a Russian Revolution inspired fantasy story, and one of the characters is the child of the former ruling family who ruled with an iron fist. They were kind of tyrants, to be honest. They were terrible. And he was their son. He was a child when the revolution happened, and he survived. But people don't really know that he survived. And so now he is a part of a society that celebrates, every year they celebrate the slaughtering of his family. And as he's grown up, he's come to recognize that his family was terrible, but he still loved them. They were his family. And so he's having to live within the society, trying to deal with this trauma of surviving and having no one left, and having seen what happened to his family. Oh my gosh. And then the other main perspective is a girl whose family was killed by his family because they were terrible, and her family couldn't really afford to pay their taxes. And so the dad's like, I'm going to use my dragons to kill all of your family members for kind of being sneaky. And man, these two in this orphanage find each other and become friends, but it's very clear to the other, like, wait a sec, you seem a little fancy in how you talk. And then the other one's like, wait a sec, I think my dad's the one that killed your family. Kind of know this about each other, but they don't really ever talk about it. And the new society allows them to progress in society based off of their own intelligence and their own working abilities. And you have all these different elements to this new society that seem so promising, but there starts to be signs that this new government is maybe not as perfect as they were hoping. The way that the book goes into the trauma of the characters, oh man, it is so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite books of the year. I always say that the beginning feels somewhat disorienting and maybe a little generic, and then as you get into it, you start to get into the heavier stuff. Man, so good. It's so good. I was also surprised to find that in the book House of Dragons, it seemed like it was going to be an action-packed competition type story, and it got way more into the trauma of the characters than I was expecting. It had way more depth than I was anticipating, and in a lot of different ways. It wasn't the same kind with each character. Everybody had their own thing, and there's 5 different point of views in that story. So I was really surprised by that, and gosh darn it, I had a good time with that book. The next one says, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. I don't know I can say it taught me something new. It's Between the World and Me, which is a memoir by Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of the most powerful probably the most powerful book I've ever read. But I don't like saying he's obviously a real person. It's a memoir, and he's talking about his experiences growing up in America and growing up in a pretty difficult area of America and being Black in America. I hesitate to say it taught me something new, as if, I don't know, like that it's somehow about serving me in some way. It's just so deeply personal, and it's so raw, and it's so powerful, so emotional. I highly recommend it, but I think that I'm gonna have to read it so many times in my life because of it's hard to explain. I don't know how to talk about really emotionally raw memoirs because it feels selfish to make it out like it's somehow about me, but I'm just gonna say that one for this. It's great. I highly recommend it. Next one says, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. Bridge 4. I know that's not anything new, but Rhythm of War is coming out. I love Bridge 4. Oh my gosh, I don't want to have to deal with the actual terrible elements of being in Bridge 4, you know, like carrying the bridges in front of the army and risking death constantly. But the group itself is awesome. I love them. The next one says, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. They're not here. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. I will do that. I'll put up a fancy little bookstagram picture. I don't know what to say for this next one. It says, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the Fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I can't really think of anything right now. I guess Between the World and Me. I'll say that one again, even though I already said it, because it's a memoir and it's literally somebody telling me about their life. The next one says, the nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. I really enjoyed House of Salt and Sorrows when I read that. I did not read that this year, though. I did not really enjoy Wicked Saints, but it's pretty dark and creepy. I described it as Nevernight, but less eccentric, and the YA version. And also, if you ship the Darkling, then you'll probably like the book. That's kind of how I described it. And the word blood is used all the time in that story. But also, I'm currently reading Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo at the time that I'm filming this. So far, it's pretty dark and it seems pretty creepy. I haven't finished it though, so I don't know exactly. I don't read very many creepy things because I'm a wimp. The next one says, the days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. I am trying to remember if I have read any short, happy books this year. I'm just gonna say Spin the Dawn. I have compared it to An Enchantment of Ravens before because it's a kind of a traveling love story in a sense. And so I think if you're looking for something like that, it's got some warm fuzzies in it. The next one says, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. I already talked about Store My Archive. I've been reading the preview chapters and I almost cried just because I was with these characters again, which is dumb. And then I almost cried reading actually emotional things in the book. I've never cried reading a book, but I'm like, gosh darn it, Sanderson, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna make me cry? Because some of the stuff, but I have to keep my mouth shut because we're not supposed to talk spoilers. I already want to reread Fireborn, which I think I might do maybe sometime next year. I loved it so much. But at the moment, I can't really think of any old favorites that I want to read again. So I'm just going to stick with Stormlight. The next one says that fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. Blankets, candles, some kind of ambiance. I feel like this is such like a privileged list. Some kind of ambiance to turn on and just have like the sounds of the forest or a fireplace, those sorts of things. I always have my cup with my carbonated ice drinks, which sometimes you guys tag me on Instagram. It always makes my day when you tag me with your ice. It makes me super happy to see. I accidentally deleted the end of my video, so here is a cute clip of my doggy taking a nap. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Feel free to consider yourself tagged if you want to do this video yourself. And let's see if we can... Luna Bear. See if we can get her to look up. There she is. Oh, stretch. Okay. Alright. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.